welcome back to the Survivor Girl podcast. Happy 4th of July, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sure you guys have a lot of stuff going on, or you're just relaxing after eating all of the salads and barbecue you could have. We thank you for joining in. I just want to start with the disclaimer. First, I can't prescribe or treat or any of that kind of thing. I'm just here to share my story and along with my guests who share their story to hopefully uplift and inspire others. So with me today, I'm sure you guys have been waiting for this. I have been announcing it. Crystal's been sharing it. It's been a long time since I've had her on the show. I have Crystal LaFay actually joining me in studio. I'm super excited. And Milo. He's not in the shot right now, but it's both of their birthday today. And we wanted to have you come on the show and catch up with you. We've had a lot. You've had a lot going on.
It's been a minute.
It has been. You were on here. Oh my gosh, I can't remember what the date was, but you were one of my first guests.
Yeah.
So it has been a while. You guys can actually go back and look at that episode. They are archived on our YouTube channel. So
Awesome.
all right. So what is going on? what is new?
What isn't?
'Cause that is a better question.
Where do you want me to start?
Well, I know that part of the thing was last time I seen you told your story from when you were younger and all the stuff that you had gone through with that. And then after we had met, so much more happened.
Yeah.
You had an
definitely.
accident and different things that went on.
Well, 2018.
Yeah.
November 2018, I woke up one morning and with a brain bleed, a stroke, and a brain tumor out of nowhere. And there's no explanation where it came from. I mean, I have my philosophy on it, spiritually, mentally, physically. I was working 7 days a week doing readings, running my business nonstop, and never took a break. So I just felt like kind of my head blew a gasket, and I had to slow down. So they sent me to the neurosurgeon, thinking I'm going to have brain surgery. So, a lot of tears, and it was a lot of pain, a lot of things I was going through, and everything in my professional life had to stop.
That took a back seat to everything that you were doing.
Yeah, we just stopped everything. And I found myself sitting all my kids down and my husband down in the living room one day and saying, this is what I need to be done if I die, because I had no idea what was going to happen. There was no, we didn't know. So the surgeon explained to me that we could do surgery, but it might end up with some more defects that I didn't want to deal with. So he said, I asked him point blank, have you ever seen this type of tumor shrink before? And he said, absolutely not. And I said, well, you've never met me before. And he just says, okay. So I said, so what are we going to do? And he says, these are your options. We can do surgery. We can wait and watch. And see.
I'm not sure whose that is, but we'll get it.
It was the heavens.
Yes, exactly.
So he said, wait or watch or, do surgery. And I was like, well, what do you think? And he says, well, your brain has contained the bleed. It's not branching out. You have some minor defects right now. Let's see. And I said, okay, I have time. And so I schooled myself. I spent, I want to think 9 months at my home teaching myself how to heal, self-healing, using everything that I've ever taught and everything I could ever think of to self-heal. And so I just looked into Dr. Joe Dispenza and Louise Hay and just all these different people that have these just wonderful stories and these things that I followed. I was like, I said to myself, after the discussion with my family, it was like, I had a choice. I could either lay down and die and just be done, or I can fight for this. And I thought, I can't leave my kids without a fight. So I had to fight. No matter what, I didn't care, And so at that point, I was going to fight. And I did. And I included, I actually started, because I work with my spirit guides a lot. And they're the ones that told me, you can't do any readings, you can't do anything right now, because the tumor is located next to my pineal gland, which is your third eye.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird, So I just said, okay, I can't do that, so what can I do? And they showed me this really intense meditation. My dad, who's passed over, walked me through this meditation on the other side, and I I was told that, neurologists and doctors were telling me there's nothing they could do and they didn't know what was going to happen. But there are doctors on the other side of the spirit world that still want to practice on us. So all I had to do was give permission.
Wow.
And so I did. And I remember being in the meditation, and I asked the spirit guide, I call him my spirit doctor. He would come in and literally, like, I could visualize it and see it going into my brain and all this stuff. And I said, just take it out, And he's even said, you can't, because your human body will go into shock.
Right.
So we got to do it little by little. So every time I'd go back to the doctor, because I was going back every few months to get a scan to see where the brain bleed was and how everything was going, it was shrinking.
Yeah.
The tumor was shrinking.
Yeah, and you shared this. You were very open on your page, and
Absolutely.
you had other pages as well that you were sharing it on, and everything. You were very open with everything.
Yeah.
And I remember you coming on there and telling everybody what was going on in the beginning.
Yeah.
And I sat there just bawling my eyes out.
Yeah.
It hit me. You know?
Yeah.
And we were just starting to hang out and get to know each other at that point in time, and I felt that. But you continued to show.
Yeah.
The scans and the progression,
Yeah.
and when you came on the show is when you brought the final one.
Yeah, and the doctor said it's nothing but a miracle. I don't know what to say, honestly. He's like, I don't know what to say. You did it. And what he explained is that there's a hole of scar tissue in my brain now, that your brain is neuroplasticity, which means it can mold and change and heal, and it can heal. Your brain can heal. I believe that. I'm walking proof of it.
Yeah.
And so he explained to me that now we have to the scar tissue's there, so you got to work around that scar tissue. And that's what I've been focusing on with that. And, but he told me at that point, that doctor's point, that I think that was in April or March of 2019, he said, go live your life. You're done. You're good. Go live your life. And I was concerned about flying at one point, and he said, put a little note on my chart with a smiley face, so you can fly too. Just go.
Wow.
So I was like, yay, right?
I'm free.
So I get back into start to get back into my readings and my business, and I start to work with another lady, and we're going to do a YouTube channel, and everything's going great, and I feel doing good. And December 19, 2019, I got in a car accident that nearly killed me. I honestly was like, how does this even happen? It's almost comical. I literally laughed at myself after I got through it a bit and went, how does this even happen? And so, I got into the car accident. I was going 55, coming home, didn't, just a normal day. It was nice out. It happened to be a nice day in December, and it was during the day, and a guy stopped at a stop sign, and as I was coming to go past him, he pulled out again and stopped again. What do you do? So, I pushed back with my foot on the pedal, and I pushed back off the steering wheel, and I said to myself, you're going to die. This is it. And then I got mad, and I said, this is how you're going to take me out? Seriously? After everything I've been through, this is how I'm going? A car accident?
Right.
Within seconds. I'm like, are you kidding me? I called out to God. I called out to my dad. I said, I don't know what you can do, but please help me. So I, pushed back, and I kept my eyes open, and I watched the impact. I don't even know at this point. I've asked people, like, why would I even do that?
Right.
I think a part of me thought, this isn't real. Like, there's no way. You see this in movies. This doesn't happen in real life. And so I just didn't, thought if I kept my eyes open, maybe it wasn't real. Mm-hmm. Oh, it was real. I impacted, went black right away. The next thing I know, I'm in the in-between world, and I'm going to the light, and I saw the light. I was like, this light over here, and this bright light, and I felt that I needed to go there, and that's where I needed to be. And I felt no pain. I felt peace. It was the best feeling I ever felt in my entire life, and I was fine with it, and I was going. And then I heard a woman's voice that confused me. So I kind of went where am I going? What am I supposed to be doing here? And then I heard a man's voice, a very loud man's voice. And I still don't know if it was my dad or God, but I heard him say, you need to go back. Wow. And I said, no, I don't. I argued.
Yeah.
I literally said, no, I don't. And he says, yes, you do. And I kept like thinking, I'm like, but it's going to hurt. And I'd been through so much already. I didn't want to hurt anymore. And he's like, but you're going to be okay. You're not done yet. Go back. And so then he played a really mean thing with me because I started seeing flashes of my family, my kids, my husband, people close to me. And I was just like, I abruptly got put back in my body, like boom. And I came to and I opened my eyes. I couldn't really see clearly. I'd hit my head on the steering wheel, again by my third eye,
Yeah.
leaving me with 9 stitches. And, but it was a woman, a witness, was following behind me and saw the whole thing and got in the truck and was talking to me.
Oh, wow.
So I like literally feel like I owe my life to her because I feel like if she wasn't there to say that, I wouldn't be here.
Have you been in contact with her?
I messaged her when I got out of surgery to say thank you. And then we've talked a couple times. We're talking about getting together and so I can meet her. But yeah, at that point, automatic pain set into my knee and my foot. My head was hurting and bleeding. Rushed me to the hospital. At the hospital, it was in Carroll. They said, you have to have emergency surgery on your knee and your foot or you're not going to walk again. Because my heel was crushed and shattered in pieces, and so was my kneecap. And so they sewed me up and shipped me over to the hospital in Bay City. And that morning, early morning, without me being able to say okay, I was rushed into the emergency room, and the surgeon did a phenomenal job. But it's still like, from there I went to Fishers in Mayville and stayed about a month because we weren't prepared at home. The kids weren't prepared. My husband wasn't prepared. None of us were prepared to take care of me. I couldn't walk. But I think at that point too, another thing came to me. I'm sitting in the hospital bed and it's like, again, you have a choice here. You can either live or you can just do nothing. Right. What are you going to do? And again, it comes to my kids. I'm like, what do I have to show them? I have to show them that you can get through anything. And so I went in.
How long were you in Fishers?
About 23 days. Yeah. I went into Fishers. I went to Fishers because it's a older folks home. Yeah. But I used to work there as a CNA. So I trust them. So everybody that helped me was, people I worked with, which is kind of embarrassing at the same time because then at that point, nurses, I'm like, come on in. Everybody's already seen me naked.
You're to that point.
At that point, what's it matter? Right. I have to be on a bedpan. I mean, come on. Whatever. It is what it is. But yeah, they worked with me really hard there. I came to Fishers in a 3-person lift. I couldn't walk. And I walked out of Fishers with a walker and a wheelchair. I could do both at that time. And it was strange, though, because I felt the feeling. I always know when I'm supposed to leave, like that shift. I just feel it's like, okay, you need to leave. And I felt it early on, like, okay, you got to get out of Fishers now. And I'm like, okay. So I was pushing them to push me to get out of there because they said I couldn't leave unless I could transfer myself.
Okay.
So I really worked hard at it. And then once I got home, COVID hit. Just like that.
So
and I was
you
like,
were out before all that happened.
So I was so thankful that I was at home. And then, I just I had physical therapy at home. The therapist helped me learn how to walk again. And I spent it was a journey. My husband became my caretaker. He still is to a certain point. And my kids became my caretaker. It's just after I got off all the drugs from the hospital, because I do everything holistic. So once I got home, I got off of everything. And I started... I just remember being in the Fishers and telling the night nurse, which is friends with me, because I'd have night terrors. Because I have PTSD from the accident, and so I'd have this loop over and over again of hitting, and I just couldn't sleep. And they want to give me drugs, and it's not bad enough I had to be on Norco for the pain, which I didn't want to be.
Horrible,
but it's all Right. But I went from the hospital being on Tramadol, morphine, and Norco. Weaned off of those two, got to the hospital, or Fishers was on Norco. Fine, okay, I'll deal with it. It was the lowest dose. But I was complaining to the nurse one night. I was like, you won't let me have my real medicine,
Yes.
my holistic medicine. It's not fair. It's not right. And she's all, I know, Crystal, I know. I'm so sorry. But as soon as I got home, I switched over. I started my CBD oil that I take. I switched right over to that. Within 24 hours, I knocked the Norco down 1 to 4 hours to 1 to 12 hours. And then by my second knee surgery, I didn't need any pain meds.
That's incredible.
So, I mean, but yeah, it was, once I got off all the drugs, the pharmaceutical drugs, I started realizing that something wasn't right with my head. I couldn't see straight. I wasn't able to read. I wasn't comprehending things correctly. I would call things by different names. I
remember you talking about like the mailbox. It would be
Yeah.
something
the post
completely
office.
different.
I always tell my husband, go to the post office. And he's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I mean the mailbox.
Yeah.
You know, it just short-term memory loss. I still have some memory issues, headaches and pain. And I think the worst part of it was I started having these horrendous panic attacks out of nowhere that I could not, it was paralyzing. And I've had anxiety in the past throughout my life, but never like this. And I tell you, this experience has humbled me and given me a new understanding of so many things, because before I, maybe before I'd be the person to be like, oh, just anxiety attack, just do this, just do. Now I understand.
It's a completely
It's
different understanding.
paralyzing.
Yeah.
It's horrible. And for me, coming from my background and what I did for people, it was like I felt this huge weight on myself, like I should be able to do this. Why can't I do this? Why can't I tell my brain that I'm safe? And what I learned is my vagus nerve was damaged in the accident, and that controls everything in your whole body. And so I had to learn a lot of different techniques, and a lot of different things came from that. But I remember the worst part when I finally said, enough's enough, I have to figure this out because it's not fair to my family. My son, Milo, was living next to us at the time, him and his girlfriend. My husband goes to work third shift. I woke up out of a dead sleeping handicap. I don't know. I don't even know what I was thinking. I just woke up in a panic attack. I thought I was having a heart attack. I could not calm myself down. So I messaged a girl that I know from a support group, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. And I couldn't breathe. I was just panicking, and I couldn't tell myself to calm down. So she says, go next door. So I went to my son, and I woke him up, and it took him an hour to calm me down, to convince me I was safe. At that point, I said, enough's enough. I got to figure this stuff out. So I just spent time figuring that out. And then, I discovered different things. Like I use Alpha Stem machine, which is a holistic machine that sends a signal to your vagus nerve to calm down. And it's been night and day difference. It has been amazing.
And that's something that I'm going to ask you about this because
Yeah.
you, if you don't mind, we go to the same doctor. Well, the same doctor's
I'm an open
office.
book, girl.
I know
Whatever
you
wanna
are.
ask.
I know you are. So with that being said, the whole holistic journey, Tony started it with Katie, and then I started seeing Katie,
Mhm.
and we actually, I think you ran into
Yeah.
Crystal
did,
there.
yep.
So
Yeah,
and
I'm
when
like,
we
"Hey."
talk we talk about this a lot on Don't Make This Weird because we're trying to help other people to understand it because people don't.
Yeah.
Holistic, a lot of people believe it's just
Yeah.
it's placebo effect or whatever,
Yeah.
and it really has helped us too.
Oh,
Can
yeah.
you explain a little bit more about that treatment in particular and how they have you kind of going with that?
Well, there's a couple different things. The Alpha Stim machine came from a neurologist chiropractor. So she's located out of Flint, and I absolutely love her. And I actually found her because when I started my journey because I'm diagnosed with a post-concussion syndrome and a traumatic brain injury. So when I started the journey of healing this, because according to most people, it's unhealable. I don't believe that.
Like you said, they haven't met you.
Yeah, I don't believe that at all. And so I started looking at just trying to find, there's not a lot of help out there. There's not a lot of information out there, especially when it comes to holistic stuff. And I'm just searching and searching. I'm in all these support groups, and someone had mentioned a lady, Natalie Kelly, I believe is her name, on YouTube, and she's a brain injury survivor. So I looked her up, and I had a session with her over the phone, and she's in Hawaii. She recommended number one when her recovery, and hers, she was like 10 years out, was going to a neurologist chiropractor. Now, it's different than a chiropractor. They go to extra schooling, and what they do is they help your brain communicate with your body and bring that back to center. And she helped me get my eyes straight so I could see straight again. She helped my cognitive. She helped with the Alpha Stim machine. So she put it on me and clips on your earlobes. You sit for 20, 30, or 20, 40, or 60 minutes, and it just sends a signal to your vagus nerve to calm down. And I remember the first time I used it was, and I'm a person that, like, I'm not like a guinea pig for everything. So, and I'm also a person that I need to try it first to see if it actually works. So I use my experiences, like, I'm like, part of me is like, this is horrible, I'm in a panic attack. But the other part of me is like, oh, how can I figure this out?
Yes.
What can I do to make this work? There's got to be something. Yeah,
Your gears are
like
turning.
A test dummy.
Yeah, your gears are turning.
So I was like driving with somebody, and they were driving horribly, and it like triggered me. I have a hard time in vehicles, so it triggered me in such a full-blown panic attack. I was on my way to my appointment to her. Yeah. By the time I got there, I was in tears, and I was just like, I'm shaking, and so she put me on this machine. Within 10 minutes, I calmed down. Wow. That's when I knew there was something there. And then she helped me get it before I could have it at home, so I can use it whenever I need to. So then, cut to Dr. Shelson. I knew he was in town for a long time, and I've heard about him, but I always thought he was too expensive because healthcare isn't covered by insurance. So, you don't have a lot of money. What are you supposed to do? And so I called up there to ask about foot detoxes. And Mary Jo, is that her name?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Sweetheart. She answered the phone, and I'm like, asking her about the foot detox, and she's telling me. I said, well, how much is, a session with him? And she was telling me. I'm like, okay. And then I said, do you do anything with brains? And she says, oh my gosh, yes, we do. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yes.
Perfect impression. Right.
She's so excited. And I just love her. And so I went in there, and I said, okay, let's set this up. And I had already determined, because I'm big into manifestation, and I'm big enough, like, just put it out there into the universe. So I said, whatever I need to do to fix myself, I'm going to have the money to do it. I don't care where it comes from. It's just going to happen. That's just the way it's got to be. And so, and it's been that way. So I went, she says, we have this, and this, and then she's neurofeedback therapy, which is, I heard that multiple times, and I'm also a big believer in science. So I'm like, third time, okay, I need to check this stuff out. So I go, they did the scan, showed a bunch of, like, all kinds of stuff. I have ADHD now. I have all these things from this accident. I'm just like, what? And he's like, whatever's on this, we can fix. And I was like, oh. And then
it's good to hear that.
Yeah.
Right.
And then he tells me something was really interesting. He's like, I walk in, and he's like, you're very smart. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He says, your IQ is 2 points above normal. I'm like, huh? Don't tell my husband. So, and then I'm like, so what do we got to do? And he says, you have to do at least 40 sessions of this neurofeedback therapy. This is what you have to do. We're going to hook up this stuff to your brain. It's going to be hooked to a computer. You're going to sit in front of your favorite TV show for 20 minutes a day. After you're done, you feel like you've been, like, you studied all night for an exam. And then we see what happens. I started noticing a difference after 3 sessions. Wow. I think I'm up to 10 now, and my energy's better. I bounce back a lot quicker. My cognitive is way better. My headaches are less. My dizziness isn't as bad. My anxiety is to a point where I can go now. I can feel, because you feel it. It's almost like a burning sensation in you, right? And he just feels it, and you feel it coming on. So if I catch it soon enough, I can diffuse it. Yeah. So I've learned all these different things with the Alpha Stim machine, and then the neurofeedback therapy, and then these different meditation techniques and all these different things. And so I remember watching a show with my husband the other day, and some scene came on. It was a crime show or something, and it triggered me. And I started like feeling that feeling and almost hyperventilating. My husband's like, "What's going on?" I said, I'm going to have a panic attack. And it was so interesting because I felt it, and I went to myself in my own brain and went, "You're having a panic attack right now. This is what you need to do to stop it. This is how we need to get out of this." And so I was able to diffuse it and get away from it. And it was amazing. To be able to do that, to have that control was just amazing. And so there are times it gets away from me and sometimes it doesn't, but as long as I do what I'm supposed to do, it seems to be under control. But yeah, I have, a lot more sessions to go to. I've actually fought with the insurance company, and I got them to pay it. So
that's another thing that
Yeah.
doesn't normally happen.
No.
And we had that conversation. This is Crystal. Welcome everybody. This is Crystal. Welcome everybody. And another thing I want to point out, and I'm not going to try to get too mushy on here because I really want to. It's funny because 3 of us in this room are cancers.
Oh boy.
Oh yes. Oh, 4. Sorry, 4. 4 of us. I am sorry, Milo. It is a lot.
Yeah.
It is a lot. But you're talking about, the anxiety and learning how to do that. And you share this with other people, though.
Mm-hmm.
She is so giving of helping because she's been there.
Mm-hmm.
And that is another thing I think that has brought us a little bit closer, learning those things with each other. And I want to ask, too, about when everything kind of happened again with the accident. With learning that again, did they say anything about injury for the brain, anything that happened before that with the brain injury?
What do you
with
mean?
the accident, the car accident, and then you already having the brain bleed and
Oh.
everything. Was there anything that happened with that?
They checked it and it's intact. I have to go every year to get it checked, and the last time I went was I think it was March of this year. I went, and he said what he explained is that and he says he's seen this in other brain injury people, that it forms like a barrier, like a wall around the scar tissue, which means it's highly unlikely I'll have another bleed. So he says you're protected pretty much.
Wow.
So yeah, no, and I have to ask myself sometimes, like, do I have a bionicle brain? I mean, what the heck?
Yeah.
This is crazy.
That's awesome.
It's insane to me to think, like, but throughout this whole process, I believe in the impossible. I believe in miracles. I believe in all these things, but this has really forced me to, I guess, walk my talk,
Yeah.
prove it to myself, to go, this is really real, because, I live it, but to experience something to this degree, because I've come through a lot in my life, but this is physical. This is your brain. It controls everything. And I went, what do you do with your brain? I don't even know what's going on in there. Like, what do you do? How do you heal it? What do you do? And I really just, I hear a lot of people that, because I've been in support groups for it and stuff, and I did seek help for it. I still go to counseling for it because it's important to have that good mental health. And there's sometimes that I get in a spiral and I need someone else to help me get out of that. And so, it's, so I'm very advocate about talk therapy, absolutely. But it's a lot of self-talk. It's a lot of, because there's days that I wake up, I'm just depressed. And I can't run from it. So I don't run from anything anymore. I just literally go, you're depressed right now, so you need to get your butt out of this bed, and this is what we need to do. Or maybe you should rest today. I really listen to what my body needs. And I actually look at my brain as a battery now, like a phone battery. So, like, I'll check in with my brain throughout the day. Where's your battery at? Do you need to recharge? What do you need to recharge? That type of stuff. And with your brain, no matter what you're doing, you're using energy. No matter what, talking, looking at things, whatever. So I have found certain things for my brain that makes it happy. So certain things that I can do, because I can't take naps, because then I can't sleep at night. And I need my sleep to function the next day. Because if I don't get enough sleep, then my brain, I literally feel like I'm drunk all the time.
Wow.
And it's horrendous.
And it's taken a while to get to that point to
Yeah,
get
well,
that.
it's been a year and a half.
Yeah.
And it's been probably the last 6 months is the biggest so far of the healing. And I still have a lot to go for the neurofeedback therapy and things like that. But I'm now getting to the point where I can start to, my whole life for the last 3 years has been healing. That's it, just healing myself. And there's been a lot of breakdowns, a lot. And I share that publicly because it needs to be shared, you know. Crying fits. My kids have seen it. My husband's seen it.
He takes pictures and you guys
Oh,
share
yeah.
that.
I told
Very
him,
raw.
you know, I told him in the very beginning, we have pictures from the moment I hit that truck on. And I said, you take pictures and you don't stop because I need documentation for myself because I don't remember the first couple months of after the accident. So it's nice to look back, and it's also nice to see my own progress. And it's a reminder to me, is like, you can get through this. You know, this is a rough day, but you can get through this. But it's a lot of self-talk, and it's a lot of self-love. I'm not the same person I was before the accident. I may look the same, but I really don't think the same. I don't feel the same. I'm a lot slower than I used to be. Things like that. So I've had to navigate around a lot of stuff. And when it comes to readings and stuff, which I absolutely love, I had multiple breakdowns because in the beginning I couldn't do them. Yeah. And it was heart-wrenching because not only that, these spirit guides are funny. Let me tell you. They downloaded all kinds of new stuff for me.
Yeah.
All kinds of new information and I was like constantly having downloads. And I'm like, why are you giving me all this stuff and I can't use it? It was heart-wrenching. And I keep being pushed to new directions.
You do. You definitely do.
Directions that, you know, I think, you know, I had it all figured out, right? Mm-hmm. Had it all figured out. This is what I'm doing. Wham.
Completely gone.
Things change, and I've had to learn to meditate again. Mm-hmm. I lost that in the beginning. I've had to learn how to love myself again. I even went through a mourning process, which is very interesting because I explained this to a friend early on because I was crying a lot. I'm emotional to begin with. But I felt such deep loss from the accident. I couldn't explain it at first. And then I was sitting with a friend one day and we were talking about it and I'm crying. And she says, you're mourning. Yeah. You're mourning the loss of yourself. That's what it is. And I started thinking, I was like, you know what it feels like? It feels like I had a twin that was with me in that accident. And she sacrificed herself so I could live. And now I have to go through my life without my twin. How do you do that? How do you heal your own broken heart? Because you lost yourself. Yeah. And I literally would look in the mirror in the beginning and go, I don't even know who you are. It is a surreal experience. And I still sometimes go, that's interesting.
Lots of new things.
You know, but I'm learning to really like me now. Like, really like me. And I know that through my healing, and I remember through the brain tumor, what I did with that is I never said I hated it. A lot of times you hear that with people. It's like, I hate my body. I hate this. I hate that. Hate is a very strong word, and it carries a tremendous amount of energy. Mm-hmm. So whatever you hate, you bring more of. And that's the last thing I want. So I started to really love my brain and understand it and talk to it like, I understand you're hurting. And I understand, you know, we're going through a lot right now, and it's rough. It just like literally talking to, like, if it was my own kid. And it works. It really does work. But yeah, it's been a surreal experience, and I'm still putting the pieces back together. You know, according to the doctors and everything, I'm still early on. It's been a year and a half. It feels like forever for me. But I think I'm doing pretty good, considering everything that's happened.
And you are taking that, though, into consideration about if you can't do it, you don't do it.
Nope.
But before, let's talk a little bit about that. Before everything happened, you were telling me you were constantly going. You traveled. You were everywhere.
God.
And I know this because I am that person that's like, okay, I'm not stopping until it, like
Yeah.
Tony will tease me until I'm taking ice cream to the moon.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
there's a
Yeah.
lot to learn
Yeah.
from that.
You know, I was building my business.
Yeah.
I went from working full-time as a certified nurse's assistant, which I worked for 10 years raising my kid by myself. And then I met my husband. And Spirit, I've been doing readings since I was 16. And I've always done them. And Spirit said to me one day, you need to do this full-time. And I'm like, no, how's that going to work? I mean, how are you going to, build an income? How are you going to do? So they said, if you follow these certain criteria and follow what we're giving you this advice on, we'll supply everything that you need. Money, everything. And I went, okay. And I told my husband, I said, well, this is so, and we're newlyweds.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and he's never dealt with anyone like me before. So I'm like, so my spirit guides are telling me that I need to quit my job, my full-time job with benefits, and do this and run my own business. And he's like, are you sure? Are you sure that's what they said? I said, yeah. So so I did. And then I transitioned. I quit the full-time job and went to human development in Carroll. And I did home health care, or I went to people's homes and took care of them. And I love my job. Absolutely love doing that stuff. And then I heard 6 months into it, Spirit told me again, nope, we got to let this go. It's time to go full board. And my husband goes, are you sure? I said, worst case scenario, I go back. Okay, let's just try it.
I'm going to listen.
Yeah. It took 4 years of a lot of hard work. And I marketed myself 24/7. And we spent 3 years on the road going to every single psychic fair you can think of, networking and just talking to people and doing everything I could do to promote myself and adding to my stuff. I mean, I ended up running a yoga center for a while. I did meditation instructing. I became an ordained minister. All these things I just kept layering and layering, and then I started making crafting stuff and started doing that, just layering this part of me because I just love doing everything. And then my husband gave up our master bedroom and bathroom because it had an outside door, and we made that into my office. So I started seeing people at home, and by the time the brain tumor had happened, I was just ending the yoga center.
Oh, yeah.
I was running the Within Circle Light group. Mm-hmm. I had my own psychic fairs that I was doing. I was doing speaking events. I was making more money than my husband. I was booked 3 months in advance. I was having clients in Ireland and in England and over the phone. And I traveled to Las Vegas. I went to Canada and did house cleansings. I traveled to New York. It was great. I was like in my prime.
Right.
Then wham. And what I learned from all that is us healers and people that do this type of work do not take care of ourselves.
No.
Because we give and give and give. Because that's what we're supposed to do. But we can't help people if we don't help ourselves.
Yes, right on.
So 3 years later of constant healing myself, as I literally could not even read a book, let alone do a reading, I discovered the secret. You have to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
So now I'm very specific. I'm very specific who I allow energy around me. I don't have people at my home anymore other than the group that I'm running, the Goddess group. I'm just very specific now. I make sure Mondays are my days off. Tomorrow, it's my me days. I do not do appointments on that day. I don't talk to anybody on that day unless it's friends or family. I'm very strict about it. I've just become very strict with my energy. I will not give it away where it drains me that way anymore. I just won't do it. And energy vampires are a real thing.
That is true.
And I know that in the beginning of the brain tumor, I had a group of ladies come over. I don't remember if you were there.
I don't think I was in
Okay.
that one yet.
Okay. A group of ladies came over and did this huge healing circle on me because we use Reiki and energy healing. So we did this huge healing circle on me. And I remember feeling that there were definitely people out there draining me, trying. And what I learned through this process too, which is so funny, and I just kind of want to slap myself for this, really honestly, is cord cutting is a real thing and it needs to be done on a daily basis. I know this. I teach this. I've taught it for a long time. Did I ever do it?
Did not
Probably
apply.
not. No.
You gotta learn that.
No, I'm invincible.
You learn that, yeah.
Right? No. So now, yeah, I cord cut every day. I cord cut for my kids. I cord cut for my friends. I cord cut for my
He's
husband.
over there shaking his head. Yes.
Yep. I cord cut from everybody because I don't need that energy. And I cord cut from the brain tumor. I cord cut from the anxiety. I cord cut from everything that I don't think I feel that I need. And there are some lessons, though. I think there's some experiences we have to go through to learn it, to understand it, to teach it, to share it, to help others. Unfortunately, most of us have to go through all these hard lessons to do that. But with that said, I think we're strong enough to do it. That's why we're given it. And I now, looking back, believe me, my kids saw me at my worst during this whole process. And I've been at my worst where I'm just like cussing out the universe and just like, are you kidding me? I literally want to call, I'm in the process of writing my autobiography, and it's literally going to be called, Are You Effing Kidding Me?
Yes.
I mean, seriously.
Yes.
But no, I just, all I want to do is help people. And my goal now is I wake up every day knowing somehow, some way, I'm going to do something good for someone, no matter what it is. And whatever that may be, that's what I'm going to do. Because I'm here for a reason. I mean, I shouldn't be here, but I am. So if I'm going to be here, I might as well do something with it.
But you're doing it differently with your
Yes.
energy being differently, but you're
Absolutely.
still able to continue to help people. And I think that is definitely part of the journey. And I think you're on the right path with that. And you have done so much. I mean, you've taught a lot. You've inspired me by sharing, and so many people, not just me, but you're so raw with everything. And you talked a bit about the things that you would do to give self-love. And it looks very different from what some of us would be like. Some of us are the bubble bath kind of girl. You're, something that makes you laugh, some kind of something fun. I mean, there's so many different things, and it made me look at that completely different.
Yeah.
Everything, seeing you be so open and honest, made me be more open and honest. And I just, I'm glad that you're here too. Not gonna cry. I'm not doing it, but I am super glad that you are still here too, and I'm getting to know you more and learn. I mean, I'm always like, okay, what do you teach? What can you teach me? What can I give you? What can we
Right.
help each other with?
Yeah.
And I know that that's got to be something that you get a lot from other people that aren't willing to give that back.
Oh yeah, and I can feel it. I'm an empath. I can feel it. I can feel it coming a mile away. I know when people are wanting to take and not give, and I literally just go to spirit and go, what do you want me to do with this person? And if they say no, okay. And if they say okay, then I will. So it's very much left up to what is right in the spirit realm, because I want to help everybody, but I can't. And I've come to that realization. I literally was trying to help everybody. I mean, reading for people and doing things like that 7 days a week, 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. is not healthy. And no amount of money, it doesn't matter. And so now my focus really is about women empowerment, self-love, not just women, but men too, like kids, everybody, just building people up. Teaching people how to take care of themselves without having, we all need someone to talk to sometimes. Nothing wrong with that. I'll do a reading on myself and go, huh? And reach out to multiple people that I trust and go, okay, I need some confirmation on this. Just give me a little bit of confirmation. And it, it usually works. But in general, sometimes just by talking, sometimes I literally will be at home talking to myself out loud, because then I come up with my solutions that way.
The best advice.
Yeah.
Expert advice.
Yeah, exactly. But
You
a lot
have
of
to,
us,
though.
people don't trust it, though.
Yeah.
You don't trust it. It's that, we just don't trust ourselves. And I've learned to trust myself. Through this process, I've had to. I've had no choice. I had to trust myself because my healing was in my hands. So I had to. And my goal is to help other people trust themselves. And I started the I shut down the other group when the brain tumor happened, because it was just too much. It was just too much. And this new group that I started, the Goddess group, the Goddess Circle group, which I absolutely love.
Me too. I'm just gonna say me too.
It's very specific. I only allow people in there that I read their energy. I'm very specific. A lot of people want to join, but there's a purpose for this group. And the group is surrounded with women, not only community sisters and being together, but also you want it. You want to heal. You want to get it. You want it. And that's what I want. That's who I want to work with primarily, is people who want it. And because you can't help those people that don't want to help themselves, or they're not ready to, and that's okay. That's their journey. That's fine. But I'm ready, and I want to work with people who are ready, and that's what the Goddess group is for. And also, I just love to give away free stuff. You know that.
You do.
do
That
all
is
the
no
time.
joke.
I always give away.
I come home last week, from the last one with a gift box. I'm
Yeah.
like, and the first one was a gift bag. I'm like, Crystal.
Can't help it.
That's the thing, and because of talking about the emotional thing, I'm like, this is for me.
Yeah.
All of this.
We deserve
you know?
it. Yeah.
You know, it's just a really cool thing. And one thing I do like about it's like you said, it's a sisterhood kind of thing too.
Mm-hmm.
And you learn a lot, and it's very raw. We talk about a lot of things that you have these questions that everybody picks something from, and everybody's honest about it.
Yeah.
And all around the room, when you're talking about it, they're like, wait a minute, you too?
Yeah.
You too? You
Yeah.
know, so it's a very healing. You know, I come home from it Sunday, and I'm like, I feel incredible. I don't know what happened to me, but I feel great.
Yeah.
And it's been this way since going. And it's just, you open yourself up for the specific people, and you know what you are willing to be able to handle now.
Yeah.
It's completely different because you don't want to be in that situation
No.
again. And I think in doing so, you're literally your authentic self. I mean, you always have been. I felt
Right.
that. But in learning yourself now even more, that's another thing too. It's like, you were just like, I'm doing this, and this is who I am,
Yeah.
and you can either love me or not.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I don't. You know.
Throw a
and-
couple F words in there too, and I think I got it.
Oh, yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But that's great.
Yeah. It's
You
just,
don't apologize for who you are.
No, and it's just going to get even worse.
Or better.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Or better.
Right.
You know, it's a duty. I feel it's a duty for my children. I have to show them it's okay to be yourself. It's a duty. I have 2 girls and 2 boys. And, you know, I raised Milo, sorry, his name is Elijah, but he goes by Milo. But I raised him that way, to be himself and have his own power and, you know, really follow through on that, and self-love and all that stuff. And I see him now, he's 23 now. Oh, can't believe he's 23.
Today.
You know, I see him now and just think, I did something right. I mean, really, I did. I'm sorry. I'm tooting my own horn as a mom, but I think we
That's
all
good.
should, you know. I did it.
Celebrate. Yeah.
You know, it's and then I see my girls, and my 6-year-old Cordelia is just like blossoming, and
She's beautiful.
she's just like owning her, like, I am who I am, and I just love that about her. She's actually pushing me to even be more authentic
I love that.
and going, it's my duty to my children. What am I going to leave behind for them? I have to leave something. And, you know, and I always, I'm very, like, when I started my Facebook page as a business, I set out, my intention is I will always post positive stuff on there. I will never do the drama-fied. I'm not going to put anything I put on there for myself is going to be real, raw, and a purpose for it. Because I believe that there's a positive in everything. You just got to find it. Sometimes you got to really look, but it's there. And there's always a way, always a way. And so I run my Facebook page as a positive, safe place for everybody. I don't allow negativity. I don't, you know, it's just not that I don't understand that there is, because I deal with it, trust me, the negativity, but I also don't live in it.
How do you deal with that when people give you messages that don't receive you as well as like someone like myself or anybody here, how do you deal with that now?
With people like the letters and stuff.
Things like that, yeah.
I've gotten multiple letters from people who think I'm going to hell and I'm this evil person, and that just like really some local people letters. It's very interesting. I send them love. What else can I do? They have a right to their opinion, and that's their opinion, and they're coming from fear. And so I don't have time or the energy to build onto their fear. And by trying to explain myself or trying to be like, okay, blah, 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 they're not going to hear it. They're seeing through eyes of fear. So I send love. And I've friended people. My husband says he's always like, no matter where you go, you make friends with people. It's like you're in the emergency room being rolled out of on the gurney, and you're giving out your business card, talking about crystals and stones and all this stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm like, I can't help it. I just want to help people. I just am who I am. But yeah, I just don't feed into the negativity. But I get hurt. I'm a human being. Right. People hurt me. It hurts. I cry over it. My husband sees that. But then I go, okay, all right, this is where it's coming from. It has nothing to do with me, and it's none of my business. So I'm just going to send them love. Hope you have a nice, blessed day, and go about my day. That's all I can do.
Yeah. Because that could so easily take you off of your path and what you're trying to do, and to continue to keep. And we need more of that.
Yeah.
We do need more of that, because we have so many people that don't understand.
Elijah and I were talking on the way here about something similar about that. About, I find that sometimes about drama and about negativity and things like that, you become who you're around, Yeah. You become who you're around. So if you're around someone for a long time and they're a negative person, it's going to rub off on you a bit. It's just going to. And I find myself being around certain people and finding myself getting caught up in my ego, getting caught up into that story a bit, that drama a bit. And because if you would have met me like 10, 11 years ago, I was that person. I was a very drama-fied, sick individual. I was just mentally not well, and I was just miserable and unhealthy and unhappy. And it is when we met. Oh my gosh, yeah, in Mayville. Yeah. Yep, poor Elijah. Yeah, that's when I met Tony. And but that was partly because I was in abusive relationships. I was around people that were like that, and when I broke free of that, I just said, I got to fix this. I don't care how long it's going to happen. I got to figure this out. So I never stopped trying, and I figured it out. And so we were just talking, you have to take yourself away from that negative environment. And sometimes it's people you really care about.
It is, too.
And that's rough.
It's hard to...
It is very rough.
Like you said, the cord cut. Can you is there like a little tiny way to explain that for the people that are listening? Because I'm still trying to learn that, too. I hold on to a lot of people like that. Not as much now, but I used to.
Okay.
And now I'm just like, nope, can't do it. I'm not available. I can't. And it feels...
Absolutely.
So much better.
Every time we come into a relationship or contact with someone, we form this invisible cord. Like we have a visible cord now attached to us.
I think it's sparkly.
Yeah. Glittery.
I think it is, yeah.
Rainbow colors.
I believe so.
But we have that cord with our children, with people we come in contact with. Usually it's a stronger cord when it's with someone who there's a lot of emotional attachment to. So, as an example, say you were in an abusive relationship. Mm-hmm. You were married, you're in an abusive relationship. You have an invisible cord, sometimes multiple cords. And if they're an energy vampire, you're going to have extra cords on their end. You leave that relationship, you break it off, and then you can't understand why you're not healing, why you're not forgiving, why you're not doing this, why does this still bother me? You still have that cord attached. You're still attached to that person. So you have to cut the cord. And it's an energetic thing. And what you do is, there's so many different ways to do it. I have a couple things on my website that are for that. I'm going to write up a more in-depth thing for it. but basically is you can visualize cutting cords. I'm more of a ritualistic person, so I like to do the whole ritual part of it. So I actually make like the cord cutting candles and the herbs and stuff like that. And so I literally I have this one container specifically at home for only cord cutting. You don't have to do it this way. That's just how I do it. It's for cord cutting and talking too much. When I feel like I'm attached to someone and I need to cut, I cut the cord. I write their name on it or the condition. Maybe it's the brain tumor. I wrote that a lot, brain tumor. And I will burn it with the herbs as I'm visualizing cutting the cord. And then the cord is cut, and then I bury the ashes, get back out to Mother Earth, and I go about my day. Sometimes you have to do it multiple times, though. Sometimes it doesn't happen overnight. Especially if it was a really intense relationship with someone, you have to do it for a long time. But eventually, you'll start to notice. Over time, you feel this shift inside of yourself. Like maybe the ex's name comes up, and it doesn't bother you as much anymore. Little by little, they become basically a stranger that you've never met.
Wow.
Simple as that.
Wow. Well, thank you for explaining that. Like I said, still trying to learn a lot of different things, and it's all very interesting. How does anybody get a hold of you? Have a website?
Yes.
And now I'm assuming that's going to be a little bit. If you answer, you'll answer when you can.
Yeah, it's basically that's I don't answer on Mondays. I answer when I can, and there's a lot of things apparently now in the works that I have to focus on. Mm-hmm. That may take my time. Well, so you can find me on Facebook, Crystal LaFay, or you can go www.crystallafay.com. I'm there. But pretty soon apparently there's going to be a podcast as well.
I hear this.
And
I've heard of that.
I'm also writing my own autobiography, and I am coming up my own oracle deck.
I was hoping that you were going to talk about that because I'm super excited about that.
Yep. So
it's very cool. Like you just are like, I'm doing this.
Yeah,
That's what I'm doing. You're learning, through everything. You have to live.
Yeah,
that's one of the big things that I try to talk about. Don't be in a situation that is traumatic before you start living your life.
Yeah, and it's anxiety. I mean, I tell you, I have not met a person that does not have anxiety. In one shape or form, we all have a form of anxiety. So if I can't use the excuse, it's my anxiety, no one else can.
Yeah.
No, it's feel the anxiety and just do it anyways. But also, with that said, kind of a disclaimer, make sure you listen to your inner voice. There's a difference between intuition and anxiety. If it's intuition, it's just a shift inside of you feel. I've learned to distinguish between the difference. Anxiety is fear-based. Intuition is love-based. So if your intuition says, you need to stay home today because maybe you need a rest day or maybe you shouldn't be out there today, listen and stay home. I've canceled a whole day of appointments because my voice told me. It just said to stay home. Anxiety, I will push through because it's fear-based, and I check, okay, is this, which one is it? And if it's anxiety, I just push through.
Yeah. That's good that you brought that up as well. A lot of times we don't know whether it's just we don't want to go because we have too much anxiety with new people or whatever's going to happen, or if we really just need to take that time and take a time out. So it's very good to listen to that. I appreciate you coming back on.
Sure.
I'm looking forward to everything else that you have going on. I fangirl over you all the time. Just the positivity alone, you have made a big impact in my life, and I know so many other people as well. So we appreciate you coming and joining us.
No problem.
Every time that you have something new happening, I will share with everybody. You guys know she mentioned how to get a hold of her. Also, I want to hurry up and give a little doting onto Milo. Milo has a band. He does a lot of different things as well, and he has been a huge.
My son.
This is Milo. We've been talking about a huge support in everything that Crystal's got going on. Can you tell a little bit about your band really quick before we go?
We're a hardcore punk band.
That's the best.
We're from Cairo.
There you go.
We're all original, and we like to rock the house and have a lot of fun. We're going to be playing at the SOS Fest, and I probably shouldn't say this, but we're gonna dress up as cops. we're gonna go as the Midland Police Department, and that's our gag for the night, and it's gonna be fun. So I hope we can see you out there.
Is there anything else though, that you want to kind of say with learning through your mom? Something that she's really instilled in you to, in life. You can
Keep
think-
your energy in check.
That's a good one.
Just remain neutral.
This kid was brought up with The Secret and manifestation and magic, and he was learning. He manifested his first guitar. He manifested someone in our life that helped him.
Yep, manifestation can happen with anything, any energy you put out there. So you gotta really be careful about what you do.
You do.
And that's
It
why.
can go either way.
Well, that's why a big part of it is remaining neutral and always just keeping your emotions in check. And me as a Cancerian, that's a lot of work.
That is a lot of
I'm
work.
dealing with it constantly. So,
It is a
Yeah.
lot
well,
of
you
work.
can do it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I love that. Well, happy birthday to both of you.
Thank you.
For joining. And again, like I said, we will continue to promote things that you have going on. And when you get your book out there, your podcast, the Oracle cards, I know you guys want to get your hands on all of that. Crystal's a huge, huge inspiration. And the story of you healing your brain and everything. Like, how can you not want to know the rest of the story? I kind of sound like, what's his name? Anyway, with that being said, I thank you guys for joining us tonight. Happy 4th of July. Please be safe out there, but don't forget, life is best lived.
Thank you.